we'd all like to see another match between these two teams.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to be a very, very exciting thing if we get a game number 3. It doesn't mean that we don't want a very, very nice game number 2 either. To get into this loading screen here, game number 2 between Monomaniac Esports and Curse North America is going to be getting underway very, very shortly. We see summoning going on for everybody, so that just means it is waiting on us to get into this game. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a very exciting game in our hands. Can Monomaniac put the aggression on the Curse before Kogmaw and Ryze get into their late game domination stances? Or is Curse going to be able to play somewhat aggressively or somewhat defensively in order to really protect the carries that they need to carry them into victory? We're just going to have to find out, as right now, Monomaniac on the blue side over here, Curse on the red side over here, ladies and gentlemen. There are pings going down already. Monomaniac going into this bottom bush, so it seems that could potentially mean some sort of jungle invade. Just looking at the teams right now at level 1 solo, who do you think would have an upper hand if they clash at this early in the game?
It's relatively even. I think Mono's is slightly better because they have Twisted Fate and Shen, so that's the potential to get a taunt that can hit the whole enemy team and a gold card stun. However, Curse does have Ryze, who has his Rune Prison, so I think it's slightly in favor of Mono, but it's not a huge advantage. It's not one of those things, it's not like in that first game that we saw where Curse's advantage was just, I can't remember if it was the first game or the game that we didn't get to complete, but the one game where Curse just had a godly level 1, and Mono just had to run back home with their tails between their legs. So it's probably a slight advantage, I'd say, for Mono, but it's not enough that they'll just win off of their level 1. They still would have to get a good engage, and they still have to be careful about how they do the fight.
We do see that Ryze decides to pick up Overload rather than getting that Rune Prison. Very interestingly enough, Nijaki, I guess, is not anticipating any aggression from Monomaniac, perhaps because they are up 1 game right now. So he's going to go for that passive kind of Overload rather than the Rune Prison to really halt. They do have a ward right over here, so they know that Shen is going to be going for rates first. This is a possible red buff start. If we see Shen getting that Shadow Dash at level 2, we could potentially see a level 2 gank early from Shen, but Curse is going to know exactly what is up because of this ward they placed over here. Meanwhile, interestingly enough, as you said, we don't see a lot of Hecarim jungle in the professional scene. I don't see a lot of Hecarim play in my matches either, so I'm going to be very interested to see what St. Vicious is going to be doing on him in the jungle. Actually picking up his Spirit of the Dead first, so he's going to be able to be healed for a little bit of the damage he does take. Gonna let him go through the jungle with a little bit more ease. He did start boots and 3 health potions as well, so that extra damage is gonna be added from his move speed. That is Hecarim's passive, for the ladies and gentlemen out there that might not exactly know what the Centaur is gonna be doing. We see a very good leash actually on this blue buff, not using the smite yet either, so St. Vicious could be going for an early red buff and an early level 3 gank into one of these lanes with that smite still up.
And that's probably what he's going to do. Usually when the jungler saves smite, that's what they're looking to do. We saw it in one of the previous games in this series. I think we saw that from Lexvink on Team Mono earlier, did the same thing. Again, one of the weaknesses on the other side, jungle Shen being played by Lexvink. Again, Shen is very popular as a champ. Now, he actually did the exact same thing. He also has saved his smite, although he started at red and went to blue. So it looks like they've got the same general idea there. The one weakness of Shen is he can serve as a jungler, but he is very slow in the jungle. Ganker. So again, you get the advantage of having Shen on your team, but he's not one of those junglers that's just going to make you really, really scared when you see him in the same way that someone like Maokai or Nautilis is going to do. And actually, both junglers heading to top lane, same idea.
Uh-oh, they're going to be button heads right here. We're going to see who wins in this fight, a Centaur or a Ninja. Shen is going to pop the W, try to absorb some damage. Here comes a Viking and a Rock into the fight as well. Exhaust goes out to St. Vicious. Westrace actually wanted to pull out there. St. Vicious is getting extremely low. Hazard giving chase. Meanwhile, Olaf is going to give chase to Lexing. Both junglers are in perilous positions right here. Nijaki coming up from the mid lane as Olaf is able to take up a first blood onto jungle Shen. Hazard has to run away here. And now Vile Rose, Twisted Fate can deal a lot of damage, but he can't take a lot of it, so he has to actually back out there with some aggression. Hazard, meanwhile, is going to go in here. Nijaki dealing some damage. Westrace taking a little bit of damage. Is going to have to back off. But all in all, Curse taking a kill. Monomaniac wind up dying or losing one of their champions in that exchange right there. So 1-0 for Curse with a very successful gank from Jungle Hecarim.
I'm really amazed at how that worked. The two junglers did exactly the same jungle route. They literally, well, I mean, one started at red, the other started at blue, but they literally did the exact same path. Other than that, they both got the top lane within seconds of one another, and we had this 2v2 up there in top. Very, very close fight. In the end, the fight decided not by the top lane in the jungle, but by the fact that Nijaki reacted faster, went up from mid and got up there before Vile Rose did. So, up there was able to secure that first blood for Curse, and now they've got a nice little edge for themselves, and Jungle Shen is going to be set back that much further because he ended up dying and had to go back to base. And St. Vicious did a nice job. He was very, very low there, but managed to get out of that fight intact, and now he's got a Philosopher's Stone on him, so it looks like he's going to be doing that support jungle build that's so common. Philosopher's Stone, Heart of Gold, and then building and support jungle style from there. So yeah, the other thing is St. Vicious held on to double buff because he didn't die in that fight. Meanwhile, poor Lexvink did lose double buff, so again, gonna slow him down and gonna put Team Curse that much further ahead.
In addition to this, he gave away his double buff to Olaf. So Olaf is going to have almost complete lane dominance of Malphite right now. He is continuously being afraid, though, only with 9 CS compared to Malphite, who has 18. So double CS lead for Malphite in top lane, despite Westrace having those buffs into his favor right there. So a little bit of an interesting play coming out from Westrace. With this advantage, though, St. Vicious is going to be able to go in there, smite the big Wraith, a little bit of counter jungling going down from the big beefy Centaur, and potentially a gank on mid lane. Vile Rose, very low on mana, does not seem to expect this, but St. Vicious is actually not going to be able to get off a kill there or a gank at all because Twisted Fate was pretty far back against his tower. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, we see that Kogmaw and Janna continually pushed up against their tower from this aggression from Corki and Soraka. Soraka with Infuse, of course, going to be giving Corki all the mana he needs to keep spamming those spells to keep Kogmaw and Janna at bay. And very interestingly enough, actually, Kogmaw getting a little bit the sustain from Soraka is going to let Corki heal up and be a-okay. But I was about to say, interestingly enough, we didn't mention the fact that Elements going for an all consumables build currently only has those pink wards left on him, whereas that Soraka in bottom lane going for a little bit more of a standard normal support start with the health potions, a couple wards to her name, and a fairy charm.
The thing about bottom lane in this game, we see some nice poke damage coming out from Don't Mash from these Corki. This is not a lane where there's likely to be many kills. I would be kind of surprised if we saw a lot of action down here, just because these are both really farming lanes. Again, the Soraka pick for mono means that they're not going to have that much damage. This isn't like a Leona Corki lane where they're looking for kills. Meanwhile, Janna Cog, again, is not a lane that looks to get kills. It's a lane that is designed to let Kogmaw just try to farm safely in peace. So Corki should be able to win this lane in terms of farm just because of the sustain and the push and the poking edge. Corki should be able to out-farm this lane, but overall, there shouldn't be too much action here. The action is going to be in mid and in top for the most part in this particular match, and it's going to be mostly focused on these junglers. And St. Vicious looks like he's coming in again, and let's see, oh, he's going for another Wraith still. That's the second time he's gone ahead and stolen that Wraith, but we have to keep an eye on that. He could very easily come in behind the Twisted Fate player Vile Rose, and it looks like he's going to do that.
Yeah, nope. Nijacki's actually recalling. I was checking the gold tab very quickly. Nijacki, not nearly enough gold to pick up that catalyst. Pick up the tier of the goddess, though, to keep his mana on the relative high and begin generating the stack that he is going to need for the late game to really maximize his mana and therefore his damage potential. So picking up an early tier of the goddess, Twisted Fate is going to seize his opportunity to go back in and of his own. Currently has about 1,500 gold to his own name, so probably going to pick up something along the lines of a Kage's lucky pick, maybe a Doran's Ranger. Nope, he's actually going for both of those items. Oh wow, I called that one pretty good. Didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, again, that is the sort of what we've seen in recent weeks and in recent months, that a lot of the junglers, especially ones who are trying to play more for late game, like to get the gold pretends, in particular the lucky pick, and then also sometimes the Philosopher's Stone. That AP Cog build is very popular. It's just get the 3 gold pretends and then just try to farm it up into late game. Now, that lucky pick is probably for a future Deathfire Grasp to add on to that combo. We'll see. But again, it makes sense just to get that early, get that passive gold stacking up. Nijacki likes to do that quite a bit as well on some of his champs. Ryze, not really one of them. Ryze, you kind of need to get the tier, kind of need to get the catalyst. And we actually do have a little fight here as St. Vicious walking into a Hazard here.
Yeah, Hazard actually going to pop an ultimate there. Finds Nijacki in the wings of this. Twisted Fate going in. Look at the burst damage already from Vile Rose. Picking up a kill there on Nijacki. Still has a blue buff over there. Actually, that was the enemy blue buff picking that one up off Nijacki. St. Vicious taking a lot of damage. Westrace, or just Strice coming in from top lane. Going to try to break that up. It was a 3 versus 2 right there, but still, Monomaniac taking an advantage, taking away a blue buff from the middle lane of their enemy. That is actually a very nice kill there coming from them.
It's absolutely huge. Not having that blue buff is enormous. That means that Vile Rose is going to be able to sit back. He's going to be able to poke with those wild cards. He doesn't have to worry about running out of mana. And meanwhile, Ryze is not going to be able to spam with his tier, which is what he wants to do. He wants to just keep tossing those overloads over and over again, farming up his tier. He's not going to be able to do that. We actually have Twisted Fate ult coming in bottom right now.
Yeah, he is going to ultimate in, gets the gold card off on Kogmaw. Kogmaw, however, is packing that cleanse. He's going to get out of there A-OK. Ultimates go down onto Vile Rose. Vile Rose gets very, very low, but there looks like there going to be no more kills in this lane. As a little bit of aggression there, forcing Cop and Elements back. Didn't exactly go into Vile Rose's favor, though, so nothing too much coming out from the bottom lane. That mid lane is going to continue to push towards the tower. Nijaki harassing down upon Lexvig as he's covering for that mid lane. Top lane, we haven't really talked about too much because there hasn't been a lot going on besides Malphite coming in for that most recent kill with an ultimate down there. Ooh, actually, Lexvig getting extremely low from Nijaki over here, blinking around on my map like crazy, so I'm taking another look over there. But top lane continuously just being passive and pretty farmy against one another. Olaf has pushed a little bit of his advantage as we see Malphite pushed up against the tower and Olaf taking a CS lead despite falling behind extremely early and the addition. Very low on mana though, so Westrice is constantly harassing with that undertow, the Q, throwing the axe, slowing down targets that will hit and helping him farm up those minions a little bit. But he has pushed the lane out. He is extremely low on mana. Meanwhile, X-Hazard on Malphite, still a decent mana reserve, continuing to farm up his lane just as normal. So nothing too much going on in top lane. It's been one of the more less exciting lanes, whereas we've had aggression in the mid lane and potentially on the bottom lane as well. And I'm constantly finding myself sidetracked and clicking on St. Vicious' jungle Hecarim. As you said, going for the Heart of Gold and Philosopher's Stone. Now on the way back with about 500 something gold. Could see him picking up items for his second pair of boots. Yep, he is going to be getting the Null Magic Mantle there. So potentially going for Mercury Treads, even though Hecarim's passive will be adding extra damage based off how much move speed he has. Going for Boots of Swift, there's a Boots of Mobility. Not necessarily the best thing in the world on your jungler. Boots of Mobility maybe a little more so than Boots of Swiftness, but Hecarim is still going to need some of that crowd control reduction because, as we mentioned before, the only thing he really has in form of crowd control is a 1-second fear on his ultimate. So Hecarim, a little susceptible to being out-CC'd in and of himself. So Saintfish is doing a pretty good job on that so far. And I hate to keep talking about Hecarim, but I'm just so surprised by this pick that I keep naturally diverting my attention to it.
In this game, he's probably going to want Merc Treads. Most of the damage on Mono is magic damage. Twisted Fate, Shen, both magic damage. Malphite is almost all magic damage as well. You wouldn't think that because he's a giant rock monster, but he is mostly magic damage as well. That top lane, there's not going to be too much action. The two of them are just too tanky inherently as bruisers up there. Unless a jungler goes up there, it's going to be really difficult for one of them to kill the other. I mean, it might happen, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be fairly difficult for them to do so. The middle laners are much more susceptible to that because they're just inherently squishier champs. And we probably won't see that much action in the laning phase here in this game, except for when those Twisted Fate ults come out. That's really when we're likely to see some action, Twisted Fate or Malphite ults coming out. Other than that, these lanes are probably going to be relatively passive just due to the matchups that we're seeing. There's just not a lot of kill potential really on either one of these teams. A lot of sustain lanes, a lot of defensive farming lanes. So we'll have to see, but like right now, it's 1 kill to 1 kill. It's dead even in gold, so it's a very even match right now. And it's likely just going to come down to how these teams do in the team fighting phase, because I just expect the laning phase to continue to be relatively even here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned in the champions...
on the top right now, though.
Ooh, actually Shen came in here. Twisted Fate's going to ult too. I did see Westrice getting a little aggressive on X-Hazard before, but now with those global ultimates, with Twisted Fate coming in on the teleport, and actually Shen came in as a teleport as well. There are 2 champions all of a sudden in the top lane that Olaf did not expect to be there. So as we're talking about it being a pretty passive-aggressive game, there's 3 champions in the top lane that take down Olaf over there. So
right, and I immediately look foolish as soon as I say that because there's a 3-man gang top. No, what happened there was it was an exchange back and forth. Hazard got quite low. Then he popped Malphite ult to get the knock-up. Lexvig used Shen ult to give him the shield. And then Vile Rose came in with the TF ult, and that finished it off. So that was exactly what Mono wants to do when they want to use those globals, and they use them to perfection right there. They use their 2 globals. They actually used a Soraka ult there as well. If you notice, Soraka has an assist right now off of that. So they really did use their globals perfectly right there to set up that kill. And again, when they have those globals up, that's when we'll see the action. But like right now, when those ults are all on cooldown, then it's likely just to be farming. Although we do have Mono is going in for a dragon play right now, so we'll see if Curse reacts to this.
Oh, looks like they are going to be going to take this dragon. All 5 members are there. Curse is scattered and nowhere near this one, so I don't think they're going to be able to contest this. Nijaki, you're going to go in a little bit too far with that Twisted Fate gold card. You got to be very careful. They are going to pick up the dragon kill here, but the Curse is going to want to go. And look at the ult coming in from St. Vicious and Hecarim. Olaf picks up a kill on Twisted Fate. Ryze netting a kill onto Soraka right now. causing Monomaniac to scatter right there. Monomaniac does come out with a dragon, but if Curse wanted to pick up one more kill on Malphite here, they could potentially come out ahead in this one. Look at the Hecarim going in after the Kogmaw was dealing damage with his ultimate. St. Vicious a little bit by himself now, though. Ignite goes down on the Hecarim. That is not going to be a kill there. Olaf barely misses the undertow on the Mash Me's Corki. They're going to go in on the Lexvink with Shen right here. Shen going to taunt, is still going to die to that Kogmaw, though. So 3 kills for none coming out on top for Curse, despite the Dragon Gold, taking a gold advantage in that one. So 3 kills for Dragon, not necessarily worth it in the sense for Monomaniac. They did lose 3 champions, all that gold. One kill of those going to Kogmaw, 1 kill going to Hecarim, and 1 going to Ryze. And as you were talking about before, with not a lot of aggression and just farming in this game, that is only going to benefit the Kogmaw and the Ryze on Curse's side of the match. And then feeding them a kill apiece in that kind of farm state, not necessarily want to do if you're Monomaniac.
Yeah, I know that Freak likes to type worth it after making a play, but that was not worth it for Mono. Curse definitely came out ahead in that. To get 3 kills was very much worth getting that dragon. The other thing that's going on is, remember, one of the key things in this game is when you're dead, you can't do anything, with the exception of Karthus, and even then it's only for 7 seconds. But you can't do anything while you're dead. Now, if you noticed in the aftermath of that fight, Nijaki went back mid. He farmed 1 or 2 waves of creeps, then he pushed to the tower, and he got in a lot of damage on that mid tower. It's actually nearly dead for Mono. So in addition to getting the 3 kills and getting the gold for that, you have to remember that the members of Curse are able to farm minions, they're able to pick up gold and experience just because, well, they're not dead. And so they're also able to get in damage on that tower. So it's not just the 3 kills, it's the fact that Curse is, alive and doing things on the map while members of Mono are down.
I was going to say, speaking of being alive, it didn't look like Kogmaw was going to be alive for much longer. Corki and he getting a little bit of a scuffle while their supports were away. Shen ultimate does come in to save Corki. No more aggression going down onto Kogmaw, though. Although Kogmaw does not have a sustained support like Corki does, so Soraka is going to heal up with a couple Astral Blessings. Corki still at above half health. Kogmaw on the other side barely flirting below half health, so they are going to have to be a little bit more passive down there. So a little bit of excitement. Meanwhile, top lane, West Ryze and Hazard continue to exchange blows, continue to exchange attacks over there, as actually Malphite comes out a little bit ahead of this one. Taking a quick look at everything, Malphite 0-0-2, West Ryze is currently 2-1-2. Ahead in CS is Olaf. He has picked up that Phage in addition to a Heart of Gold and Philosopher's Stone, so generating the passive gold as well. Malphite, the same kind of thing with triple of those GP10 items, in addition to Sorcerer's Shoes. An interesting addition because, as you said, despite being a giant rock monster, Malphite does deal magic damage, and that ultimate of his, kind of like a Nunu ultimate, is going to be dealing a decent amount of damage. It is going to be crowd controlling everybody, but just looking at Malphite with the burst from his ultimate, his E, and his Q, that spell penetration on squishy champions like Kogmaw could be devastating and almost completely take them out of a fight entirely.
He's also got the, like you said, he's got the triple gold per 10. That might be a little bit greedy getting the 3rd gold per 10 because West Ryze does have the Phage up there now, as you mentioned. So we'll see, but that's a lot of passive gold. And here they go in top lane again. But the ults are not going to work out because West Ryze pops that ultimate, and none of that crowd control is going to work out. So he is going to be able to run out of there with his Ghost, and I don't think this Ignite's going to finish him off. No, he is going to survive. So nicely played by West Ryze. Mono did use the Twisted Fate ult and the Malphite ult and an Ignite, and they did not get the kill off of that. So nicely played by West Ryze. He dodges that particular attempt at a kill, and that's a lot of ults down right now for Mono. They actually have Shen ult down too because they did use that in that last fight in bottom that you mentioned. So all of their global ults are currently down except for Soraka ult, which means, once again, there's not a whole lot that Mono can do for the next minute or two until those come off of cooldown.
And the interesting thing was they used the Twisted Fate ultimate before they used the Malphite ultimate. So Malphite was not able to go in on Olaf and then have Twisted Fate go in and try to gold card him. So Olaf was actually able to pop the ultimate and just basically resist the crowd control from both effects of the ultimate. So I don't know if there's a little bit of a miscommunication from Monomaniac or just a little bit of mistiming.
Olaf can use his ult to break crowd control, so it doesn't really matter sort of when you use it, because even if he's already CC'd, he can break out of it when with the use of his ult there. But I mean, they probably could have layered that a little bit better, yes.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily you would see him using the ultimate just against the Malphite ultimate, but with the Twisted Fate in there, is almost guaranteed to do it. Meanwhile, mid lane, speaking of Twisted Fate, Fate, getting taken out. Got caught with a Rune Prison right there from Nijaki. St. Vicious coming from behind, kind of saying what's up to Lexvink there. But caught with the Rune Prison from Nijaki, and then an Overload goes down as well. So another kill net for Ryze in the mid lane. That is currently his second of the game right now, taking out that Twisted Fate. And like you said, champions really can't do much when they're dead. Unfortunately, in the case of Twisted Fate, his passive won't be there for the rest of his team. Get those extra 2 gold as long as he's dead too. So a frown all around from Monomaniac. Top lane there, that's with Nijaki and St. Vicious going for a gank on X-Hazard's Malphite. Malphite, as much defense as you have right there, not able to resist that one. Ooh, an ultimate coming out from St. Vicious is very interesting. We did see Shen teleporting in the middle of the fight though. Malphite was able to survive long enough to let Shen come in there. Unfortunately, that just net them a double kill rather than anything too good coming out of that one in favor of Monomaniac. So there's 2 kills after 1 in the middle lane. This top tower is not going to be long for the world, as we do see Westrice taking that one down. He and Ryze going to TP out of there with a lot of gold in their banks and go back and buy some decent amount of items. Curse up 7-2, 28.4k gold to 24.8k gold. A little bit of swapping of the numbers there. And 3 towers to none in their advantage right now.
And that was just a disaster for Mono. The exact opposite of what they needed to have happen. All started in mid, as we saw a minute ago. Nijaki flash Rune Prison, Overload, Ignite, gets the kill. They had St. Vicious, as you said, coming around on the back end, but he wasn't even needed. Just the flash Rune Prison was enough to get the kill. And then that 3-man dive in top, the Shen ult comes out, and that was a Shen ult that should have been canceled because it just turned into another kill. The tower went down, and the tower went down in bottom as well. So Curse actually has all 3 outer towers right now.
Ooh, they are going to try to engage on this Dragon, Monomaniac that is. Ooh, catching Nijaki with a very nice ultimate from Malphite. So Mastery's going to pick up a kill on Nijaki. Nijaki kind of going in before the rest of Curse is ready for this one. They do have Kogmaw on their team though, which means that there's a lot of poke here in St. Vicious. Does he have the smite? His smite is on cooldown for just a couple more seconds. Trying to delay this Dragon until he and Kogmaw might be enough to steal it. Smite is now up. There is damage going down. Corki is still focusing down on that Dragon. Malphite continuing to take the damage. Dragon is extremely low. We see Smite goes off between Curse, St. Vicious, and Top. They are able to steal that Dragon away from Monomaniac. Now on the back foot, there comes Westrice. Ultimate looks like it has been popped. Continuing to wail down. They decide to catch Lixing out of position here. Phage procs go completely down on him. Actually, that is now a Frozen Mallet from Olaf. Undertow also landing on X-Hazard. Ultimates from Kogmaw give vision into the bush, and Westrice picks himself up another kill there, as that is currently 2 kills and a Dragon now for Curse. Pushing that lead even further, continuing to beat upon Monomaniac, and even though they have that farm-oriented team you're talking about, still the aggression from Curse is unparalleled.
That is really unfortunate for Mono in that last fight there. They got a great start to that because Nijaki was way out of position. He was completely by himself. Used Malphite ult, got the kill. It looked like it was going to be a great play, but then Mono just tanked so much damage from that Dragon that, I mean, they were sitting there tanking Dragon for almost 20 seconds, and as soon as that happened, they lost the fight. Now we actually see Curse making a play for Baron here with the use of Janna ultimate here to get the heal, and there's no ward coverage here from Mono whatsoever, so it looks like Curse is going to take this and move completely into the driver's seat in this match with this Baron kill as well. So a gutsy play here by Curse. They are going to lose their mid tower, I think, but they will happily trade that for a 21-minute Baron. So a really, really nice play and a great call coming out from Curse.
And Patoy going over there and checking that Baron, puts a ward down and breathes a heavy sighs. He realizes that Baron is missing, and now they know why they've been able to take that mid tower. It wasn't because Curse had to go back to heal. It was because Curse wound up taking an early Baron. That is a very nice play call there from the side of Curse. As we mentioned, that is going to put them extremely ahead in this game. And like you said, completely in the driver's seat. About 5,500 gold in the lead. Nijaki, Rod of Ages, in addition to his tier, they got this in Sorcerer's Shoes. Still on the other side, picking up a Sapphire Crystal and a Ruby Crystal, potentially going for a Banshee's Veil in that sense. Maybe another Catalyst coming out from him. Kogmaw has an Infinity Edge right now, in addition to his double Dorans and Vampiric Scepter. Take a look at Jungle Hecarim, my favorite character in the game right now. Has a Negatron Cloak, in addition to his Frozen Heart and double GP10s. Another Ruby Crystal on his build suggests perhaps a Banshee's Veil there as well. Olaf in the top lane, and we mentioned him getting that Frozen Mallet, has a Shirelia's Reverie as well, so there's going to be a lot of extra burst speed coming out from the side of Curse. And taking a look at Janna. Janna has not really completed a big item yet, has the Ionian Boots of Lucidity for cooldown reduction. 2 GP10s underneath her belt. And in addition to this, she has a cloth armor, so potentially going for the Randuin's Omen since Olaf in the top lane has a Shirelia's Reverie. So that is what Curse has. That is their advantage in this match, and they're continuing to push this, pressuring that middle tower, once again putting Monomaniac into a bit of a defensive stance. One thing they have a little bit different from this game, though, is Westrace able to split push, but mid lane, seeing that they're caught out of position here, Curse caught taking a Malphite ultimate. There's a cleanse, but it's not going to be enough. Nijaki now in the heat of things, trying to take down Mashmi, has to flash over the wall, will wind up living, and the Kogmaw explosion actually takes out Mashmi. It's a very nice focus from Curse over there. Westrace is going to go down over here as you see taking him down as on that Soraka. Nijaki in the meantime will be getting Malphite, who continues the aggression, trying to take down him, but to no avail right there. So that is currently a 3-for-1 in favor of Curse. They trade their range carry for a range carry, a support, and a top lane character. There is a tower down in the mid lane. Curse with that Baron buff, like you said, completely in control of this game, Sullla.
Right, having the Baron and being ahead is what got that fight. Again, a good start to the fight from Mono. They were able to kill Cop immediately, the AD Cog right at the start of the fight, but then from there, just unable to deal with all the damage that was coming out from Curse. And the person that's just destroying Mono right now is Westrace. With that frozen mallet, he's just able to stick to whoever he wants to get him frozen out this early in the game is pretty unusual. It gives him, first of all, a ton of health. He has 3,300 health, first of all. And then again, once he pops that ghost, he can just stick on whoever he wants. It's like he has a red buff all the time. He can just keep chasing, and it's impossible for people to get away. And again, he's just really wrecking Mono in all these team fights. So that's been the difference there. I mean, of course, the Baron and of course the Dragons that they've gotten has contributed as well. But the other thing that we're seeing is Curse is starting to itemize a lot of magic resist, because they know that so much of the damage on Mono is magic damage. We can see the Negatron cloak right there on Hecarim, and Ryze is going to be building towards well, he's probably not going to rush Banshee's Veil, but we do see the Merc Dreads coming out on a couple of these champs as well. I guess they don't have that much MR so far, but we do see that from Olaf, and he's the one who's getting right into the thick of things, and he's the one on which it's making the biggest difference right now. So again, Mono's gotten good engages at the start of these fights, but once they've gotten that initial kill, they haven't really quite been able to follow it up and take the team fight from there. In that last fight, Nijaki was very, very low, but he wasn't finished off by anyone. And indeed, there is the wow. See, I must be prescient here. Ryze actually does pick up the Banshee's Veil. I was thinking, no, he's not going to go for an early Banshee's Veil, but there it is. So again, they're trying to itemize around that magic damage, and we see that in their item choices here.
Very interestingly enough, we already have St. Vicious with a Frozen Heart, so even though Ryze likes to get that to maximize his mana potential, like you said, they're itemizing against the magic resistance, and since they have a Frozen Heart on their team already, let's Ryze go into different portions of his build. So picking up a Banshee's Veil, extremely good against the team competition he's facing, and still a really, really good item to get on Ryze. Like you said, it's giving him everything he needs: magic resistance, extra health to boost that effective HP he's gaining from the magic resist, in addition to extra mana to make him even stronger. So he's tankier, he's stronger, and he's going to live a lot longer in these fights right now. And of course, Curse continuing to pressure right now, getting damage down on this inhibitor. Kogmaw is shooting up from far away. St. Vicious taking a couple extra shots of damage right there he probably didn't want to take. Already a little bit below half health between him and Westrace, and now Ryze, like you said, really focusing on that magic resistance. Unfortunately, Corki is not going to be dealing all magic damage. He still has a lot of physical damage on his being. Walking into a bush right here, Janna is going to see that there's a ward here. 2 wards from Curse, because apparently they really want control of that bush over there. But still, like you mentioned, building HP, building magic resist, building to face the entire composition of Monomaniac's team. Rather than going for standard builds, they're altering their item builds a little bit. They've gone already with a little bit of an unorthodox kind of champion selection. They have jungle Hecarim, they have a Kogmaw on their team without a composition that's really known for staying back and protecting the Kogmaw, and it's really working out for them.
The other thing that Curse is doing is, because they're putting so much pressure on the base for Mono, they're really nullifying these global ultimates. Like, where can TF go? We just saw him use his ult, but where could he really go? I mean, with these lanes being shoved towards Mono's side of the map, he can't really split push, or he can't really do anything with that ultimate. As a similar deal with Shen. The other thing to watch is, notice how Curse is splitting up, and they're not standing together because they don't all want to get hit by Malphite ult. So try to keep an eye on that too for you guys who are watching. Did a really nice job of that before, in that when they were pushing the inhib a minute ago.
And then they are going to continue to push this inhib. Now going in there, able to pick up a kill on the inhibitor, will immediately fall back, potentially rotating to one of the other lanes. Bottom lane and top lane, though, have kind of stabilized for Monomaniac, so Curse is just going to decide to continue on their way back to a retreat, potentially going to buy some items. They do have a bit of gold in their bank. Taking a quick look at the gold tab, almost 1,000 gold in every single champion except for maybe Ryze and Janna right now, so they could potentially go back and buy a couple more items. We did mention a couple of the builds before. Cop now going on his way for that Zeal into Phantom Dancer. Kogmaw is going to become that late game powerhouse. Janna actually picking up a Locket of the Iron Solari, not going for that Randuin's Omen, picking up a little bit extra on the defensive side of things right there, in addition to another Ruby Crystal for her own extra little health boost and a couple more wards to lay around the map. Hecarim now starting on that potentially Trinity Force, as he has started that Phage. Could maybe see another Frozen Mallet from the side of Curse, but I don't think so, considering Westrace already has that, and he's doing enough work with it already. Westrace, in the meantime, has picked up a Randuin's Omen for himself, though. So now we have 2 activated ability items on Olaf. He's looking like more of a support than Janna right now in his item build, but he does have that Frozen Mallet, so of course, gonna make him live, gonna make him slow down the targets he really wants to focus on. And like you said, Westrace really doing the work for Curse that he needs to be doing. 6-1-4 on that Olaf from top lane.
With Curse being this far ahead, they can easily bait this Baron. That's what they're going to do. They're going to put out the words. They're just going to look to force fights, and it looks like they've caught Malphite here.
Yeah, Malphite gonna have to burn the ultimate to get away, but runs into a wild St. Vicious and a bush. St. Vicious going down onto Soraka and Shen over there. Looks like a Khazad is gonna try to get away, but Westrace continuing to go down. True damage goes down, but he runs into a Corki and a Twisted Fate. Westrace in a little bit of a bad spot. Hecarim is gonna finish off that Soraka though, and they do actually pick up the turret in the meantime. Westrace continuing to run away, but all the members of Monomaniac are chasing after Westrace. Curse could have just ran into this base over here and taken the tower, but instead, with the Twisted Fate ultimate on them, they are going to show that they're going directly over to Baron. This is technically a 4v4 fight coming up right here. The support from Monomaniac is down, so there's no sustain on them right now. Janna is still up and still has an ultimate for Curse right now. Ooh, Shen's going to go in there, even though he has my favorite item in the game, that Ionic Spark. He is not going to live very long. We saw Nijaki in the meantime going off to the side and just taking down Twisted Fate all by himself. Nijaki is a beast at this point in the game with the Banshee's Veil. Almost fully stacked Rod of Ages, and a Tear of the Goddess at 800 mana in addition to the Sorcerer's Shoes. So much damage on Nijaki right now, and Curse with a 2-character advantage now is going to go in on this Baron. Monomaniac, I don't think they can contest this at this point, and I think Curse is going to take the second Baron of the game and still continue on the upswing with this advantage. 15-5. 48.6k gold, now it's a 50.1 to 41.6k gold. 6 towers to 2, it's almost a 10k gold advantage for Curse, and it is really showing in this game, Sullla.
It's not looking good for Mono one bit right now. Cop out, here comes the surrender. I was going to say Cop just flashed for no reason, but the surrender comes out, and that's that. Looks like Curse will take this one. In that last fight there, Mono did a nice job to pick off Westrace. They finally managed to kill him, but after that, Curse just baits the Baron. There's no words there for Mono. They have to face check Baron. They can't give it away for free, and you saw the result. Twisted Fate and Shen both die, and with no jungler, no team, no way to challenge Baron, and they just decided they couldn't win that one, and saved us for playing out the final 5 minutes, I guess you'd say.
All right, but once again, that was